And we'll actually talk a little bit about Snapchat today because Snapchat was involved in this whole situation. So, all right, it looks like it's already 12:30. Say what? Gosh, I feel like this is what happens when you don't set up ahead of time. Everything is a mess. Okay. You're a bit lost. Yes, I will fill you guys in. So I know I have a lot of new followers. I feel like this looks so sideways right now, but it's like driving me nuts, you guys. Sorry. So I know I have quite a few new followers. So for those of you guys that don't know who I am, my name is Marisol. I'm 32 and I have late stage Lyme disease. So I was diagnosed, I think, almost 4 years ago. I don't even remember. It's been such a long time. Yes, Marisol. And it's been a really long time since I got diagnosed, so I don't really remember. I just know that I've been sick for a long time. Hi, girl. Thank you, Daniel. So I started, I didn't really start periscoping when I actually started using it. I started using it in January, but I actually really started periscoping quite a bit in May. May is Lyme Disease Awareness Month. Lyme disease is a tick-borne infection. So basically, it's an infection that's passed through the bite of a tick. I don't know when I was bitten. I didn't have any of the signs of being bitten. Thank you for inviting followers, and thank you for the hearts. So I have no idea when I got it. I know I've been having a lot of problems for about a decade, and the last 5 years have been the worst. I've been having a lot of severe neurological issues, which is why you don't see me in a lot of people's broadcasts, because I really can't tolerate the light of my phone very much. And especially lately, I have not been doing well lately. I have never been to Morocco, although I was married to a Middle Eastern person. And I know that Morocco is sort of part of the Middle East a little bit. So that's as close to Morocco as I've gotten. Anyways, so in May, I did a scope a day about chronic illness and Lyme disease. And a lot of people asked me if I was going to keep doing it after May. So when I come home, we got to hang out. Sure, I mean, you're a little young, but, we'll see. So a lot of people asked me if I was going to keep scoping about chronic illness and stuff like that after the month of May. And it was really hard for me to scope every single day because of my issues that I have. But people were asking and requesting, so I started doing book reviews in June. So I was doing book reviews, I think, for the month of June and July. And I was doing a book review every Thursday. I think I did probably like 8 books. All those book reviews are on my YouTube page. There's a link to my YouTube page here in my profile. Everyone's at work right now. Yes, a lot of people are at work, but I usually leave the replays up when I do these kinds of scopes. So I did book reviews June and July, and then a lot of stuff started happening. A lot of stuff has happened to me since I started on Periscope in January. And finally, at the end of July, I started considering leaving Periscope for good. Hi, Camo Ship? Camo something? At the end of July, I started considering leaving Periscope for good. I'm not going to answer that question right now. Maybe in another one of my scopes, we'll talk about that. And there's a reason why. I haven't left Periscope. I've made a lot of good friends through Periscope, and there are a lot of really nice people on here, but there are also a lot of really, really awful people, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I was doing book reviews June and July, and in August I took a break, sort of. Yes, a lot of annoying fake people. I took a break, and then I also got really sick in August. So it actually worked out that I was not on here for most of the month of August because I was kind of, sick, and then also just really thinking about whether it was worth it to be on here and deal with certain people. So I am I ever going to get better? I don't know. I don't really know. I haven't gotten better, and I've been through a lot of treatment. So, that's kind of the tough part, that you don't really know with Lyme disease. So one of the big reasons that I started considering leaving Periscope is because there are a lot of people. It's not necessarily fake people. There are a lot of people that are very malicious, and people that really don't have a conscience. And I started dealing with a lot of these people, I guess because I'm an easy target. I have an illness. I'm disabled. I can't work because of my symptoms, and I'm stuck at home. So people see you as a perfect victim. And so recently, I had basically, I mean, a lot of this stuff has been happening since January. So since I started on Periscope, I've been having encounters with people that, that lie. They lie about themselves because they want to get to know me better and they want to gain my trust. And at first you just kind of, take people, you take their word for it, but then little by little you start to see, they're probably lying about this, or they're probably making something up, or, you start to catch on to the fact that people, especially online, they can manipulate information and make themselves come across as something that they're not. So I decided to stop doing book reviews and just to do topics that I think affect chronically ill people, or anything that's happened maybe to me that could help someone else out there that's dealing with a chronic illness. It doesn't necessarily pertain to chronic illness, but it could be just things that happen to me because I'm chronically ill. Because I think a lot of these things have happened to me because I'm sick, not because if I was, working and, if I had a life outside of my home, I think people would treat me very differently and they wouldn't see me as vulnerable. But, usually the targets of con artists, scammers, liars, sociopaths, they're usually very vulnerable people. So you see a lot of old people, elderly people getting scammed out of thousands of dollars. I actually know a lady that this happened to. And I've heard this, a bunch of times with different, in different situations, people's grandparents getting conned out of money, and that kind of thing. But I believe this also happens a lot to people that are sick or that are, disabled because they're isolated and they can't really, they don't have any other life really but, being at home or being online. Because I think disabled people, we spend a lot of time online because we're just at home. We can't really go out places. So, I have actually Fight for Your Right. Hi, Fight for Your Right. Welcome. I actually have a first-hand con artist. I was actually communicating with a con artist through Snapchat recently, and it was really interesting actually. I already knew that he was kind of a con artist, but I was really curious to see what he was gonna say, and so I gave him my Snapchat, and we kind of had a little exchange, and I just was curious. I already knew that something was going on with him, but I was really curious to see how far he would take it. So be curious about me, okay? But before I get into that, I'm going to read you guys some stuff about con artists, how to spot a con artist, and different little things that you can look for when you're dealing with con artists. So that you can sort of know for sure, this person is kind of up to something sketchy. And then afterwards, I'll read you all the stuff, the exchange between me and this guy. And then you can start applying all these different things, all these different little hints. And you can see in the dialogue I have with this guy, where all these little signs come out. Because you can see as I'm communicating with him, little things start to come out. and you start to, in your mind you start to put things together, and you're like, oh, he's lying, or that doesn't sound realistic, or that sounds kind of off. So here's 10 pointers. Some of these apply to my situation, some of them don't apply. There's also dating con artists. So some of these are, for people that are doing the online dating thing. Some of these are financial con artists. Some of these are just, sociopaths. So these are different things to look for. So, how to spot a scam. Not my style 12. Okay, let me write it down. Not my style 12. So after I get off, I'll add you on Snapchat. Hi, GOC. There's a potential for a large amount of gain with little investment. So you're going to receive a bunch of money without really having to do anything at all. You have no idea how the scammer got your email and your information. And he doesn't really know any of your personal details. He doesn't know your name, doesn't know anything. He just has your email. You're an anonymous person, basically. There is a sense of urgency. So it's like, you got to do this now because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You need to do this now. You need to do this now, or else we're never going to be able to do this. They keep asking you for personal details and money right from the very beginning. So that's kind of like one of the classic signs. They're asking you for money, and they're asking you for personal information from the very beginning. So that's kind of like the easiest thing, the easiest red flag. And I actually don't think a lot of con artists do this anymore because, it's so obvious. Government agencies are involved. That one's kind of weird. That one doesn't apply to me. You're introduced to a lot of officials, bank officers, lawyers, tax officials, but you know these people only through the scammer. So they're people that he knows, that he's referring you to, but they're not your own bank people, lawyers, or tax people. The scammer never gives you a physical address of his location or a landline number. So that one's a good one to remember. You keep paying a lot of fees, and each fee is clear, is to clear the procedures involved to help you receive the money. So that's another kind of obvious one. If you're paying money to receive money, that's obviously an issue. You're supplied with many official documents, but you don't know if they're real or forged. And you've never heard of such a money-making idea or tactic before. So it's like, wow, I've never heard of this kind of, this type of investment in my life. I wonder what it is. Hi, your boy Steven, welcome. So those are 10 ways to spot a scam. There are also emotional scammers. So in my case, I think this scammer was sort of trying to appeal to me in a more emotional way. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of people on here, on Periscope, and in other places that lied or didn't necessarily try to con me out of money, but were trying to sort of pull the wool over my eyes. Now, there's one thing that I read about scammers and con artists is that they're not always trying to get money. And that was something that I found very interesting. They're not always trying to get money. Sometimes they just want to see if they can trick you. They just want to see if they can lie to you, and if they can sort of get you to believe get you to buy what they're selling in a way. Hi, Escobar. So it's not always about them getting money out of you. They just want to know that they convinced you about something. So one of the things that I read was that they just want to win. They just want to win. They want to get their way. They want to know that they tricked this person, that they convinced this person, and they made them believe their lies. And once you believe their lies, they're satisfied. So, it's not necessarily about money. And I think in my situation, I've had probably like 3 or 4 people on here already that were trying really, really hard to get me to buy into whatever they were telling me. And unfortunately, sometimes I did a little bit, and sometimes I sort of caught on to it, and I just quietly would block the person, and get them to go away. And people don't have hearts on their page. When the people don't have hearts on their page, they're not real. Oh, they're like bots. Yeah, but those are bots. Bots usually don't do anything. I've had real people communicating with me on here and through Snapchat and lying and saying, and some of these lies are really, really horrible, and I'll tell you about a few of them. One guy lied to me about having cancer. They are fake like Kim Kardashian's ass. Okay. One guy, he was a really young guy. He said he lived out in Malibu. He told me he had lung cancer and that we should get together. And every time he would come into my scope, I would say, oh, how are you? Are you feeling well? And blah, blah, blah. And he wouldn't really acknowledge what I was asking him. And a few times he scoped and it was in the dark. And I could tell that he was in a swimming pool. And he lived in a really nice house. So I believe that he probably lived in Malibu or in a really nice area. But somebody that has lung cancer would not be in a swimming pool. And the reason I know this is because I have a friend who recently had a double lung transplant. And this guy wouldn't go anywhere near water. He wouldn't go in the ocean. The guy could barely even walk, because he couldn't breathe. And a person with lung cancer, high hilltop, cannot breathe very well, especially if they're going through chemotherapy and stuff like that. So this guy, definitely a sociopath. Definitely an awful, awful person, lying about having cancer in order to gain my sympathy. Yeah, some people are sociopaths. Some people have mental issues and they lie in order to gain, sometimes they lie in order to have people feel sorry for them or to gain their trust. In this case, this guy wanted me to sort of, gain his trust or gain my trust, so that we could kind of be buddies and communicate through Snapchat. He was on my Snapchat too, and it's like, there are just people that want to get away with a lie. They want to know that they can get away with it, and they get some kind of a thrill about that. All right, see you later. So that was one guy. I had another guy in Canada. I will add you on Snap as soon as I get off of here. There was another guy from Canada that was a social worker, and this is another thing that I've noticed in my own personal experience. I've had two guys on here, and you guys have heard my story about my marriage. I was in a relationship for almost 7 years, and it ended because my husband had a psychiatric condition. So I've had two people on here tell me the exact same story. One guy said that he was in a relationship living with his girlfriend for 7 years, and she was crazy. She was totally crazy, and he and I found out later that was not true. He was actually the one that had some issues. And then I had this other guy. He was from Canada. He was a social worker. And he told me he was in a relationship for about 7 years, and he walked in on his girlfriend sleeping with another guy. So I was just like, okay, that's what a coincidence. We were both in a relationship for almost 7 years and blah, blah, blah. He also told me, I added him on my Snapchat as well. And he also told me that he was very interested in me. He just bought his second home in Canada. But then he was also willing to move to be with me. Now, there's another thing that people need to look for, and that's, when somebody's trying to scam you into something, and that's when there's holes in the story. So this guy just bought a second home in Canada. Number one, he lives in Canada. Number two, he just bought a second home in Canada. But he's willing to move to be with me. So he's willing to move to the United States to be with me, but you just bought your second home in Canada. So that's a big hole in the story. He's making all these big investments, financial investments in Canada, but he's willing to leave all of that to come and be with me in the United States. So that was the second person, and that's a huge, those are things to look for. Those are big holes in the story that you got to look for. So that was, those are the two of the guys that that have done this kind of thing on here. Also, you got to look for flattery. Of course, a lot of people on here are like, you're beautiful, you're so pretty, you're so smart, you're so this, you're so that. And that is another way that con artists gain the trust of their victims. Now, here's something interesting. Con is short for confidence. And I didn't know this. Con is short for confidence because a con artist tries to gain your confidence. They try to gain your confidence with flattery. They try to gain your confidence with charm, being charming. I had one guy on here that was very funny and very sweet and very, he was always telling me, oh, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. And he was very funny. He had a really good sense of humor, very charming, very sweet, and definitely gained my trust. Definitely gained my trust with that. Also, con artists know their victims. So somebody who is trusting, somebody who is seems nice, a decent person. One of the people that I met on here, he told me, he said, you're very level-headed and you're very smart. So he knew that I was going to be the perfect victim. I seemed like a decent human being, somebody that wouldn't take advantage of someone else, but he also interpreted that as I could be easily taken advantage of, which wasn't true. Some people use sexual seduction, also crocodile tears, trying to get you to feel sorry for them. So, for example, the guy that said he had cancer was trying to get me to feel bad for him. Righteous indignation. So I'm going to give you guys an example of righteous indignation when I start reading the my exchange with the con artist. And gaslighting. So righteous indignation and gaslighting sort of, in my opinion, go hand in hand. But let me tell you about gaslighting. Gaslighting comes from a 1944 movie called Gaslight, where a gold-digging husband marries a rich, innocent woman and tries to make her feel like she's going insane. So basically what gaslighting is, it's a technique that people use, usually sociopaths, borderlines, con artists. They make the victims doubt their own perception of reality. So I had somebody on here a long time ago tell me that I just wasn't open to being loved. I'm not open to being loved. I'm unlovable. I'm this, I'm that. And that is trying to make me out to be the bad person. They were trying to make me look, or this guy was trying to make me seem like I just wasn't open to being loved. So trying to convince me that I was the problem, not him. And you start to question your own perception. You start to say, well, maybe that's why I'm single, because I'm just this unlovable person. Or maybe that's why, I can't meet anybody because I'm not open to being loved. And so you end up dating this person that's telling you all these things. And that's exactly what this person was trying to do. He was trying to get me to go out with him by convincing me that I was the problem. Like, you're not going to go out with me because you're not open to being loved. But if you were open to being loved, you would go out with me. So that's called gaslighting. It's sort of turning the tables on that person. So righteous indignation is basically getting upset when somebody gets upset and they're just like, how dare you? How dare you question my kindness? And I have an example of that in my exchange with this guy. So, isolation is also another technique. I'm already an isolated person because of my illness, and I'm usually at home by myself all the time. I don't go out anywhere. I'm pretty isolated. I don't really have a lot of contact with the outside world. And so I'm a perfect victim for a con artist, for a scammer, for a sociopath, because they already know that I don't have a lot of connections out there, and they would be the only person, my only connection to the outside world. Hi, Tahiri. How are you? All right, so I'm going to read my exchange with the con artist. I'm not going to give out his name. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a fake name anyways, but I'm just going to read what our exchange was, and I'll identify some of the techniques that I just talked about, and I'll show you how he used these on me. So just a little bit of background. I met this person through Periscope. He said that he wanted to help me, and this isn't the first person that has said this. I've had 3 people. Two said that they were investment bankers. Another one said that he owned a nightclub and that he wanted to do a fundraiser at his nightclub to raise money to help me. And here's the other thing. In all 3 of these situations, I was not asking for money. I was not asking for a dime. These people voluntarily said, I want to financially help you. Hi, girl. I want to financially help you with, and they never said specifically what they wanted to help me with. Hi, Zyla. Welcome back. They just said, I want to financially help you. They never said, I want to help you with your illness. Well, the guy from the nightclub owner said that. But the other 2 just said, I want to give you money. I want to help you. I want to give you money. So that's, of course, the first red flag. So this guy said he was an investment banker. They're always investment bankers. And he said, add me to your Snapchat. I want to give you my proposal on how I want to help you. And so out of curiosity, I was like, okay, let's see what happens. I'm okay with Snapchat. If he would have asked for my phone number on Periscope, yes. Most of these people are from Periscope. Tricks are for kids. Welcome. Most of these people that I just mentioned are from Periscope. So, this guy, Gio. Hello, how are you? So, this is what he said. Hi, Callie Inc. Welcome. He said, so I've got a financial proposal I'd like to present in which I cover all of your monthly expenses along with a monthly allowance of $10,000 weekly at the least, which is $40,000 a month. I'm dead serious and I'm willing to showcase that I'm genuine. I'll elaborate on all of the details. So that's the first part. I know, right? WTF, right? So when I was looking online, they say that con artists and scammers, they usually don't have very good grammar and very good writing. But this guy, his writing was actually pretty good. He seems to know the English language very well. So that, I kind of couldn't go off of that. But one of the biggest red flags is that if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. $40,000 a month. Number one, who has that kind of money? Number two, $40,000 a month is just like ridiculous. $10,000 a week, $40,000 a month. And it gets even better, so that in and of itself was ridiculous. And then he kept going, and I was just like, oh my God, this is just, dude, $1,000 a week, I would have been like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I would have just been like, $1,000 a week, I would have believed it more. Hi, Father Joe, how are you? So he said, I'm dead serious and I'm willing to showcase that I'm genuine. I'll elaborate on all of the details. So I made a joke because I have another friend on here. We'll get to that, Xylo. I have another friend on here, and she says that any guy that tries to talk to me has to go through her. So I told him, I said, you have to go through my friend first. I'm good. How are you, Father Joe? So I said, you have to go through my friend first. And right away, he got defensive and he goes, why are you taking this as a joke? So that's the technique that I was talking about, righteous indignation. He got upset. He's like, how dare you take this as a joke? I'm not joking. I'm sincere. So that was the first, that was another hint. He was getting upset because it's like he's totally serious about giving me $40,000 every month. So he told me that, and then he said, my throat is getting dry. Sorry, you guys. I have like no moisture in my mouth. He said, well, I'd suggest for us to indulge in a brief Skype meeting in which we go through all of the details. This would be strictly virtual, along with according to your comfort and well-being. I'm open-minded to any suggestions regarding payment methods, but I'd suggest PayPal, as PayPal has a limit of $10,000 per transaction, but no limit as to how many times one can transact. So basically, at this point, I was like, okay, this guy is full of crap. And also, too, I think PayPal is very dangerous. There's no way to track whether the money's actually going through. But I in my mind, it was like, you know what, there's so many holes in this, because, you know, if he's making a charitable contribution, you know, he has to claim that on his taxes. And this money, if I were to be receiving this much money, I'm going to have to start filing taxes. And because I'm a disabled person, I don't file taxes. I don't have to file taxes because I get Social Security disability. And this guy, you know, this amount of money, you know, not only would my disability be taken away, so would my Medicare benefits, and, you know, I would have to start filing taxes. You know, I would get in big trouble. So that's a really, really big hole in this. So I told him, I said, I'm good. I don't need any money at the moment. And I think I told him that I did not recall asking for any money. So, you know, it was really bizarre that I had not asked for any money, and he was like, here, I'm going to give you $40,000 a month. So I told him I didn't need any money at the moment. If I ever needed any money, I would open up my fundraiser, because I do have a fundraising page. There's a link to it here in my profile. But I can open up the fundraising whenever I need money and close it. Yes, it's a very, very sketchy situation. So he said, when I told him that I didn't need any money, he kind of ignored it, and he said, I've obviously reached out to you as I find you visually appealing. And I just talked about that. Flattery. Con artists will flatter you. As far as financial support goes, you're making a big mistake. So again, here we go with the gaslighting. You're making a big mistake. I'm the one making the mistake, not him. You haven't even chosen to hear me or present my proposal properly. Furthermore, I'd not be talking. I'd be typing throughout our meeting while you'd be on camera talking back. So it would be similar setup as you're used to through Periscope. Now that is a huge, huge red flag. I think I just read that on this. You never really ever get to know the scammer. They never show their face. They never give you a physical address of their location. They never give you a phone number. They never show their face. They're basically this anonymous person. For all you know, they don't even exist. So that was a huge, huge red flag. And I mean, I kind of felt insulted at this point that somebody would think I'm that stupid that he would say, he's basically saying, I'm never going to show you my face. You're the one that's going to be showing me your face, and I'm just going to be throwing money at you. And I mean, I think that was like, if I was him, if I was a con artist, that's the stupidest, like, wow. You know, I would have been like, no, I'm going to show you who I am. I'm a real person. You know, you're going to see what I look like. You know, it doesn't make any sense that this person would be completely invisible. So that was a big, big red flag. So I think I told him at this point, if you're interested in donating, I have a fundraising page. You know, go over there. If you actually are genuine about donating money, you can donate money. There's a place to donate money. Why are you doing this one-on-one, you know, through Snapchat? And then he said, if you in any manner feel like, no, this is not for me, then I'd post $10,000 to your fundraiser online as a thank you for your time. So basically, if I hear him out, but I don't like what he's telling me, then he'd just give me $10,000 just for my time, which still sounds too good to be true. Just $10,000 because you heard me out. You know, I'll just give you $10,000. But what I'm about to offer you, though, will be life-changing. You'd be able to empower yourself along with your family. Now, that word, empower, I think is very, very interesting. Because he's not just saying, Oh yeah, that's number one. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Um, but the word that he used, empower, I found that to be a pretty smart technique, because you don't want to tell somebody like, oh, you'll be able to buy all the stuff that you want, you'll be able to do this, you'll be able to do that. You're sort of trying to, it's almost like motivational speaking. I'm trying to empower you. I'm trying to make you feel, I'm giving you independence. I'm empowering you. I'm giving you your life back in a way. So I found that to be pretty smart. You know, he was smart about some things, not so smart about other things. So he would be able to empower me along with my family. So I'm not only helping you, I'm going to help your family as well, because you'll be able to help them financially. So I at this point, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to start to have a little bit of fun with this. And I kind of wanted to see, hi Tank, welcome. I wanted to see if I could get something else out of him, because the conversation was strictly money, 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 money. I'm going to give you this money. What is the sting in the tail? Exactly. That was sort of my thinking. Like, what's the catch? What's the catch? Hi Casey, welcome. So I was like, let's see if I can get some kind of other response, because I kind of wanted something else. I wanted to sort of have a conversation and get it away from the money aspect. I really wanted to see, like, you know, where's he coming from? I'm good. How are you? So I said, do I strike you as the type of woman that can be bought? So I'm sort of trying to get, you know, like where did this guy come? When did I give off this vibe that I was just here for money? Because I never said I wanted money. I actually rarely mentioned my fundraising page. The only time I mentioned it was in May, when I was actually fundraising. And so I told him, I said, do I strike you as that kind of woman that can just be bought? You know, somebody that just wants money and just wants things. Hi Aldo, welcome. And he says, it's not about striking me in any manner. As I've stated, we keep this strictly virtual, online, in which we settle on an agreement suiting us both. I'm obviously going to provide you with money, a car of your choice, along with a place of your own, which is purchased for you. I'd elaborate on the details throughout our Skype meeting, and I'm not buying you in any manner. Hi Tala, welcome. I'm catering to your needs as far as financial support goes, as well as realizing your goals and dreams materialistically and financially. So now it's getting like totally ridiculous. He's basically ignoring what I just said, you know, ignoring what do you do. I'll tell you guys what I did. He keeps ignoring what I'm telling him. He keeps ignoring, you know, it's like, when did I ask for money? You know, at what point did I say I wanted money? So he won't answer my question, and just keeps going back to, we need to meet, you know, we need to do a Skype, and I'm going to be, you know, giving you my proposal. I actually kind of wish I would have done the Skype, because it's like, what else was going to be, like, what else could he tell me? He told me a lot of stuff here already, and what's the difference between Skype and Snapchat? You know, he was already giving me the proposal. So I don't really know, like, what more did he want to do through Skype? So I told him, I said, you don't even know what my goals and dreams are. You know, so this guy is just telling me, you know, I'm going to help you realize your goals and dreams. Well, I never mentioned what my goals and my dreams were. I never said what financial future I wanted. Hi, Osman. And again, the biggest red flag is that he wants to keep this all virtual. It has to be 100% online. And that is the biggest red flag. He's never going to show himself. We're never going to meet in person, which I wouldn't meet in person with this guy anyways, because only God knows what kind of person he is. So just, again, I was like, is he in Nigeria? No, he didn't say he was. Actually, I don't even know where he was. Like I said, scammers never give you a physical address. They never give you an address. They never give you a phone number. It's all online. So I told him, I said, you know, how do you even know what I want? Like, how do you know, yes, stay clear and far away. It's like, how do you even know? So, hi, the real dame. And he says, we'd book a Skype meeting, again, ignoring my question completely. We'd book a Skype meeting in which we go through what your goals and dreams consist of, along with me financing them. As far as medical procedures, along with materialistic items such as cars and a home, etc., along with me presenting my proposal properly. My intentions are good. So after this, I was like, okay, this guy's totally crazy. And I blocked him. I blocked him on Snapchat. I blocked him on Periscope. And I was like, okay, I had my fun. You know, he wasn't really answering my questions. Like, I was giving him a hard time, and I really wanted to see if he was going to sort of have a deeper conversation, and he wasn't. It was just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. I'm going to give you this money. We just need to talk on Skype. We need to talk through Skype. We need to talk through Skype. And I was like, okay, this is just a broken record. I'm not having any more fun. So I blocked him, and I blocked him on Snapchat. I blocked him on Periscope. And that's usually what I do. Once I start having an issue with somebody, I just block them. And I mean, I know it's just $40,000 a month, plus a house, plus a car. I mean, it's just, you know, it reminds me, you know what? It doesn't even take intelligence. Even an idiot could have seen through this guy's BS. So it doesn't really take a lot of intelligence. But it reminds me, it was so funny because this is it's going to sound like a stupid story, but a long time ago, I was talking to this guy at a club. I was younger, wasn't recently. I was talking to this guy at a club, and he was on his phone, acting like he was cool. And he looks at me, he goes, I've got like 6 chicks on here begging me for sex. And it reminded me so much of this situation because it's such an exaggeration. You know, if the guy would have said, you know, I have this girl, you know, there's this one girl that I'm talking to, I would have believed one girl, you know what I mean? Or I would have believed, you know, a couple of girls that this guy was talking to. But it was so blown out of proportion. I've got 6 girls on here begging me for, like, it was just so ridiculous that I just kind of stood there like, wow, this guy's so stupid. And this is the same situation. If this guy would have said, you know, I'm going to offer you $1,000 a week for a year, chances are I would have fallen for the scam. Chances are I wouldn't have fallen for the scam, but it would have been so much more realistic. But this guy was really like $40,000 a month, a car, a house, and I have to do absolutely nothing. He asked absolutely nothing from me. And that is another red flag. When the other person is not asking absolutely anything of you in exchange for this money. It's just, I want to give you money. And we all know in the real world, you know, money is precious. Nobody's just giving away that much money. It doesn't matter who you are, you're not going to be giving away that much money just because. The only weird thing about this situation, the weird thing is he didn't want any personal information from me. Yes, that's exactly what I was just going to say. That's the only really weird thing about this is that he never asked for any personal information. He probably could have eventually. Eventually, through Skype, he might have started asking for personal information, but he never really did. So that's kind of the only part that I was like, he never really asked me for any personal information. But like I said at the beginning of this scope, some people don't want to get anything out of you. They're not trying to get money from you. They're not trying to scam you out of money. They just want to see if they can pull the wool over your eyes. And that's like I said, that happened to me already 3 or 4 times where guys weren't necessarily offering anything. They just wanted to see if I would believe them. And in some cases I did. Yes, exactly. It's just, I want to see if this person will believe me. And that's a sociopathic quality. I want to win. This is a contest and I want to win. Hi Spike, how are you? So I don't think this guy was really, I don't think he was out to get anything from me. Thank you for inviting followers. I think he just wanted to see how far I would go. Yeah, it's a sociopathic trait to do this kind of stuff. I'm good. I'm doing all right. So, you know, hi Greg Lopez. So that I found that interesting, but I did read online that there are some scammers that it's not about money. It isn't about money. It's about winning. It's about getting this person to believe. Aloha. Gilo in the house. Awesome. See the green, tap the screen. So sometimes it's just people that want to get you to believe them. Like the guy that told me he had cancer. I don't think he really, he just wanted me to believe it. And because I believed it, I think he just let it go. Once I believed it, he was like, I'm satisfied. Why are you talking about this? Why you talk like it is a dodge bullet kill? You never believed it. Right. Hi, Callie Pete. No, I didn't believe it. It's just, I believe that people that have chronic illnesses were sort of more vulnerable to stuff like this. Elderly people are, more vulnerable to stuff like this. Because we're sort of in a situation where we're at a disadvantage. We're isolated, we're poor, we're online all day because we can't really go anywhere. So it's sort of, this is just kind of like an informational thing. But that was the one thing when I was researching this, the one thing that I found really interesting was that it's not always about money. It's just about getting someone to buy into your scam. Hi, Rick. And that's I think specific to like sociopaths, narcissists, borderlines, that they just want you to believe. They believe their own BS, but they want other people to believe it. And once they get that person to believe it, then they're satisfied. It's like, okay, I got them to believe my lies. I'm fine now. I'm okay. I'm satisfied with the outcome of this situation. So yeah, it was, I did it just because I was bored and I was curious. And I just kind of wanted to see where it would go. I kind of wish I would have done the whole Skype thing, but I have a minor in sociology. My bachelor's degree, hi Mick Boss, my bachelor's degree is actually in film production. So yeah, I minored in sociology. Hi, how are you? And so it's very interesting. I'm always from Loyola Marymount. I'm always curious about what makes people tick and what makes them do what they do. But a lot of times it's just mental illness. They're not really doing anything with a specific purpose. They're just mentally ill people. And as I mentioned before, I've had some really, really close calls on here where I've had to involve, I've had to take legal action and stuff like that. So, it's really hard, but I'm getting smarter. I'm getting better with it. Thank you, Aldo. Thank you, Casey. You write scripts. Okay. So that's basically my presentation for today. So, like I said, I'm changing my Thursday format. I'm not doing book reviews anymore. I'm just going to sort of kind of come up with a topic that pertains maybe to chronically ill people, or maybe something that happened to me like this, for example. I thought this would be really interesting to talk about, and it could help somebody else out there, because I know that there's a lot of chronically ill people on Periscope, and it might help them in the future. And I'm sure this happens to everybody on Periscope, but especially to those of us that are sick. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to come up with just different topics for Thursday instead of doing a book review, because I was rushing through the books because I knew I had to do a book review on Thursday, so I was rushing through them, or finding a book that I read a long time ago and I couldn't remember what it was about, and it was just kind of stressful. So I'm just going to come up with a topic and talk about it on Thursday and try to sort of give it a little spin, maybe for chronically ill people, or I'm not reading any books, actually. I got so burnt out on reading because I was just reading book after book after book that I kind of just decided to take a break. I was considering leaving Periscope for good because of all this crap that I've been dealing with. I wonder if I could produce. The answer is unclear, but very towards a big no. Hi, DVD. So, I was kind of considering just leaving Periscope because I was dealing with a lot of people that were just, just weird people, con artists, scammers, things like that. And I took a little bit of a break. Do you post what's your reading list on Goodreads? No, I'd never been on that app, but I'll check it out. So I don't know, I like this better because it's a little bit more fluid. It's a little bit easier for me to just kind of come up with a topic to talk about instead of specifically reading a book and, you know, trying to read it as fast as possible. Maybe I will do a book review here and there, but it's just, it was just too stressful and, you know, it's too much. So that's what I have for today. I'll think about what I'm going to do next Thursday. Some people have given me some ideas about other topics. If you guys have any topics or any questions that you would like answered, you guys can let me know. Some people have asked me about certain things. Private me so I can get your Snapchat. Cheesecake, where are you from? Tell my favorite PF I said hi if you see her. She actually, I believe she started working. So she's probably not going to be on Periscope as much. You're in Georgia, okay. So she's, I saw her last Thursday. We actually periscoped together last Thursday, so. But she has been really busy. I know. We're all gonna miss her, but I'm just glad that she found a job, so that's really good. So, all right, guys. So I will see you next Thursday. If you have any questions or any ideas for a topic that you would like me to go over that pertains to my chronic illness or anything that you guys are curious about, you can message me through Twitter. Hotsun100384. Cheesecake, I don't do privates. I'll send a subject in the business if you're interested. So you can message me through Twitter. Check out my YouTube link to see my other scopes. And what else do I have on there? I don't know. I forget. But anyways, go on there and let me know if there's something that you want me to go over next Thursday. So I will see you guys in a week.